Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of Bloodshots. I saw something out of the corner of my eye. The podcast about movies and TV shows. To my right, Wes Baumgardner.
Hello.
To my left, Aaron Butterfly Schmidt. If you like what you see, like, favorite, and subscribe on YouTube and Twitter, and help support the show on patreon.com/derailed, because we like new things. So if you give us money, we'll give you new things. And if you want to get your comments read on the show,
comment below, read it on the show.
All right, let's start off with, is there any news?
No.
News? No news?
No real news.
No news is
Don't
good
pretend
news?
like we didn't talk about this off screen. You're a terrible actor.
Sometimes you bring things out of the great beyond.
That's true. Sometimes I do. No, there's no news. Grey's Anatomy is talking about a potential series finale.
Oh, really?
After 1,500 seasons. They're potentially going to end.
So another 4 seasons?
14.
Oh, my God. That's crazy. No. So let's do some top 10.
So the box office this week, the week of September 22nd.
28th.
No, it's not whatever.
23rd.
Oh, yeah.
The week of September 23rd, number one box office, The House with a Clock in Its Walls has made $31 million so far.
I really want to see that movie.
The number two is A Simple Favor, has made $36 million so far. Number three, My Hero Academia, has made $1.9 million so far. Number four this week at the box office is The Predator. So far, it has grossed $43 million. I think we went over the budget of this, but I'm just going to do that over again. The budget for this movie
was like $120?
$88 million, and it's at U.S. gross 43. So it still hasn't made money, so we don't have to give up hope on humanity. Number five is The Nun, which means we do have to give up hope on humanity because this movie has made $103 million.
Oh my God!
Hey, people love their schlocky horror films.
Yeah, I guess.
Jump scare.
Number six, White Boy Rick has made $19 million. Number seven, Crazy Rich Asians is still on there. It's made $161 million so far.
How much of that is Thunderfoot 240?
61 million. Number 8, Peppermint, has made 32 million. Number 9 is a new movie, Fahrenheit 11/9. The next
Michael
Moore
movie
has made $3.9 million so far.
Roger Moore, huh? James Bond.
Yep. And finally, number 10 is called Life Itself. It has made $2.8 million. I have not heard of this movie. It's a young New York couple goes from college to romance to marriage to the birth of their first child. The unexpected twists of their journey create reverberations that echo over continents and through lifetimes. Holy shit. That went super deep real quick.
Jeez.
So, Crazy Rich Asians is what to talk about right now.
Still haven't seen it.
They are fantastic. I'll see it on video.
True.
I'll probably rent it or something.
There's probably be a good copy up soon on the Kodi.
Yeah.
You watch anything exciting?
Just the 2 movies.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. We didn't watch a movie this week.
Watched a lot of TV though.
Yeah.
And Netflix stuff. I watched
Did you watch Maniac? That
Jonah Hill
show?
Mm-mm. I did watch 5 episodes of Jack Ryan.
Ugh.
Which is pretty good. John Krasinski did a good job.
Can't do it. He's Jim.
He's Jim.
So he can't.
I've seen some of the previews, and he's like, "If I drop this grenade, we all die." And I'm like, "Dude,
it wasn't. It was less Clint Eastwood.
He's not a very good actor. I'm just saying."
The way they shot that scene though was pretty funny, because it's staring down his arm with the grenade.
Yeah.
Like this, and it's just all you see is this Jim's nose.
Yeah,
it's
huge
Jim.
Slosh. Fucking. I can't do it. I can't buy into the Krasinski thing.
It is a
Did
good
you
story,
like A
though.
Quiet Place, though?
Yeah, for the story and the premise and his wife. But you'll go back and watch the video. He's still Jim with a beard.
But he also directed it, right?
Yeah, he's a great director.
So he should stay behind the camera.
Stay
so
behind the
you don't see
camera
Jim.
or be funny and awkward.
Watch Jack Ryan a couple episodes. You might like it. It's got a pretty decent story. It's really not bad.
and I don't have the gym attachment that you do. So
Sure.
Neither do I, really. I still think he's good in it.
He's just not a good.
But how about the name escapes me now? Forever.
Forever.
Watched Forever.
Yeah.
There's only 8 episodes. I finished it last night. I fell asleep in the middle of the finale, so I watched it again today, this morning. So, well, you know how I feel about it. I want to know what makes you, so far, 6
They don't
episodes.
know how you feel about it.
Well, I mean,
Talk-
you always
tell
do
them
that
how
to
you
me,
feel.
though.
he's letting you go first this time.
Yes, because your opinions get skewed with how I think about things.
No, it's
I
it's
just
not
want to know
that,
how
though.
you feel about it.
Okay, so to
Just give
piggyback
your
off that
honest
statement,
opinion.
it's not that they're skewed, it's that I use the way that you dissect a movie, the way that you think about a movie in my own turn. Like, it helps me look at it at a different way.
Yeah.
Because it's like sitting down and having a conversation about politics. And you have 2 people, or one person that's tunnel vision, and one person that's a little more broad. And then that perspective helps me open my mind a little bit more. Because there was another movie that happened too. Remember? I came out and I was like, I don't know what I watched. I can't remember what it was. And then you were like, well, I think it was Mother maybe. And then we talked about it in the car and everything, and it helped me understand more of what I was watching.
Sure, but give them your initial review of,
Okay.
of
So my initial review was I did not read anything about this movie or this TV show.
they didn't say anything about it.
Right,
If you watch any of the interviews with either of them on late night, they're like, it's a show about me and Maya Rudolph, or it's a show about me
Yeah.
and Fred Armisen. And then they show the clip of them in a ski resort, and they're like,
Yeah.
do you want to say anything else about it? They're like, I can't.
Do you care if we spoil?
No.
Okay.
I know nothing about
You
this.
should
So,
watch it, though. It's
it- Okay, so,
So your
initially,
opinion is it's super good.
initially I was
Spoilers.
expecting a SNL style comedy because it's those characters. It's Fred Armisen and it's Maya Rudolph. I have not seen either of them in a serious role at all.
No.
You know what I mean? So that's what I was expecting. So I go into it thinking I'm going to get a comedy about a couple living together forever in marriage and the stupid things that happen to them in their lives.
Okay.
That's what I went into it thinking. So, because like I said, I didn't even read IMDb about the plot or fucking anything, right? So we get into that was my initial thoughts. So as I'm watching all these episodes, it's very deep, it's very slow, it's very sort of somber in a way. Like, I felt depressed at times. There was some funny parts. There was some really good parts. And then, but a lot of it I thought was more very depressing. And that was my initial thoughts.
okay.
Of the
I
whole
need
thing.
examples for all of those. What are funny parts? What are good parts? And what are
Funny
depressing
parts are when they meet the kid neighbor, and he's a little skateboarder, and he's got the crush on the fucking or not that like just him. Like, I thought he was funny.
Okay.
And how he makes fun of them all the time.
Okay.
You know. And, like, Fred Armisen thinks he's his friend, and he's like, no, fuck you. Like, I don't want you to make me dinner or a sandwich or any, you know what I mean? Like, I thought that stuff was funny.
Okay.
The depressing stuff I thought was, like, her in that fries scene in the aisle, and she's, like, trying to get internet, and then she's just crying and not saying why she's crying until they go to the couch and have the grieving session. Right? So that... And then just some of their exchanges are very stale on my first glance, right? Their exchanges are very stale. So I'm like, I thought this was going to be like a married couple and like funny things happen to them. And it's more about how they don't communicate and how everything is very dry. And she thinks one thing and he thinks another thing. And right. So that's my depressing part of it. And then... after we talked, I watched... Remember I told you I was at episode 4. And then
I was on episode 1.
Okay. Well, I was on episode 4. We talked, and then I looked at it from that perspective. And I said...
Which is what?
Which is look at it as a deep emotional movie, not as a comedy. not as a surface comedy, right? So I looked at it like that, and I told you that some things may come together for me at the end and make it better, which that did happen. I still think the movie is just a little slower for my taste. And like I like it now. I can say that it's a good show. I like it. I'm not going to go out of my way to watch it. I'll watch the second season if they get renewed and everything. But I won't, because the finale was cool things happen. It's like, oh, now I'm interested. I want to see what happens in season 2. You know what I mean? So those are my examples.
So before you go into your...
Yeah, I was waiting for you.
All right. The only thing I have a question is, does the comedy, and you might know this a little more, does the comedy seem more British style, being very dry and witty almost?
It's Fred Armisen humor.
Yeah.
So Portlandia, that kind of stuff? Okay.
It's just not... what makes Portlandia is Fred Armisen and Carrie, right? Like, he has his one thing and she has her other thing, and you mix it together and you get Portlandia. It's this, like, crazy, weird, off-the-walls shtick. But Fred Armisen by himself is an enigma. He's very interesting. I don't know that he actually has a personality. He's always doing something else with his mannerisms and the way he speaks and stuff. So, if the only way I can explain it is, like, if you like Fred Armisen, but see, that's not true, because you like Fred Armisen
A lot.
and you went into this show and didn't really get it.
Yeah.
Where, like, I don't know, everybody's different, but so this show is brilliant. I haven't finished it yet, but I have a feeling that by the end of it, it's going to be like a masterpiece of television for me. It's so smart and so impactful, and I'm not even there yet. I'm not even, like, I've been married for a year, but I so much understand these characters because the things that they do and how they talk to each other and the things that happen to them are so... They're like relatable situations in very unrelatable environments, I guess.
Okay.
Or maybe the opposite. Maybe it's the opposite. I don't know. But it's...
You got kind of feelings like me and Becca do that.
I just got kind of, but not even that. I just love these characters so much, and I love the way that it's shot and the way that it's presented. And I mean, you'll never understand where it goes in episode 3. Like, episode 1 and 2 are so drastically different in concept than the rest of the season, and I just am on the edge of my seat the whole time. And it's not an action thing. It's just a dialogue and shot setup and cinematography and acting and stuff, and it's just fantastic. It's just great. It starts out with like an Up style montage where it's probably like 6 minutes long or something like that, and there's stuff that I've seen, movies and TV shows, where, like, by the end of a whole series, I don't understand characters as much as I understand them after this 6-minute montage. It's fucking fantastic. And, oh, man, it's just beautiful. So it's about Fred Armisen and Maya Rudolph, and they're married. Then they've been together for a very, very long time, to the point where things are becoming repetitious. He's making the same dinner. They're going to do the same thing. They go on the same trip every year. And he is content. He's totally fine. And Maya is the catalyst to most of this, as she says, let's not go to the lake house this winter or whatever. Let's go skiing. And he's like, I don't know. I guess, yeah, sure, we can go skiing. Yeah, that
But I
sounds
told my
fine.
coworkers we were going to the lake house.
Yeah. So like the trailer that they show, the scene that they show during the promotion of the show, as they're on Conan and whatnot, right, is just him and Maya at the ski resort, and he's sitting there, and they're like, man, it's so cold up here. And they're like, okay, are you ready to go? And he's like, or someone walks by and he goes, he's wearing his boots, and this guy walks by. He's like, Fred Armisen's like, sir, are these the same boots that the professionals wear? And he goes, no. And he goes, oh, all right. And then they're like, okay, you ready to go? And she's like, yeah, let's go. And he's like, oh wait, my contact's out. And she's like, oh no. She's like, yeah. And he's like, oh, couldn't have gone far, And she gets down on the ground and she's looking. She's like, oh, it's so wet over here, And they're just looking for it. And he's like, oh wait, nope. Oh, I feel it. It's in there. And she's like, oh, are you sure? I think I found something. And she's like, oh, is that a fingernail? Oh, gross. And he's like, well, this is like where you buy the boots shop, so it's probably a toenail. And she's like, oh god. And he's like, it's coming down. It's coming down. It's coming down. It's coming down. It's coming. Okay, got it. Okay. It's this Fred Armisen humor.
Okay.
God, it just tickles me the right way, man. I just love it. And Maya and him have such a good chemistry together that they go with the whole thing. And they have this cute little thing where they make lists or like name the number one something, right? So like at one point they get into a house and they're like, Maya's like, name the number one best way to sit. Mm-hmm. And so they have this little monologue about like, well, I think the best way to sit is left leg over on the right. You're sitting there, you're comfortable, you put your coffee on your knee, it's great. And she goes, well, I think you're being kind of sexist. What if I want to wear a skirt that day? I'm flashing my genitals everywhere. She's like, I think if you're going to do that, you might as well go all the way. So left leg all the way over right leg. And he goes, well, now I think you're being sexist because if I put my leg all the way over and he does it and he goes, I'm smashing my genitals and I can't do this. And so they do this thing where they sit cross-legged. He's like, what about this? Cross-legged, feet together, palms out, so people can be like, oh, do you want this? Oh yeah, sure, I'll have this. Yeah. And he's doing his Fred Armisen thing, and it's so silly and subtle and just stupid. And then it's just little cute stuff like that. It's just full of that stuff. So full spoilers for Forever. If you want to watch Forever, go watch it now, finish it, come back, and then listen to us talk about it.
This is full spoilers up to episode 5.
No, he's on 6.
I'm on episode 6, I'm on episode 6, so
okay.
up to 5. But the big twist in the show-ish is episode 3. Okay, so full spoilers, go away.
He's actually giving you a warning for once.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So at the end of episode 1, the end of episode 1 ends with Maya. They have to do a ski class with children, and the children are just dickhead kids, right? And they're back having a beer, waiting, and they're like, she kind of starts to think about like, why didn't we have kids, And he's like, well, wait, do you want to have kids now? And she's like, I don't think so. I just don't remember ever deciding not to have them. And he's like, okay. She's like, you always wanted to do this and that and stuff. And it's like, it's kind of just like thinking about like what happened to my life kind of thing. And she's like reminiscing about all this stuff. And then they kind of have this weird like argument, but it's not an argument. And he's like, well, I'm just going to go finish practicing skiing. And she's like, yeah, I'm going to go get a glass of wine or whatever. He goes skiing. The end of the episode ends with him like hitting this thing and like falling and like he freezes or whatever. Episode 2 starts and he's been dead for a year. So he dies on the ski thing. It's like a dark, I would classify it as dark humor. Okay. I really, really would. Because the episode 2 starts with her shopping for the router because he always did all the router stuff, right? So she's at Fry's or whatever shopping for a router and she's like, I think my internet thing is out and I don't know how to do it. you know, and the lady's like, oh, okay, well, do you know if are you sure it's a router issue? And she's like, I don't know what a router is. And she's like, okay, well, it could be your ISP. And she's like, I just need the box to blink so that I can do my stuff, right? And then she starts crying, and the customer service lady is like, are you okay? She's like, yeah, I'm sorry, my husband just died, and he usually does all this stuff, you know. He died a year ago, and I'm still not over it. And then it's just this she's like trying to fight through crying, but getting help on routers, and the way it plays off of the customer lady is so. It shouldn't be funny, but it's so funny. And then they have like a little sit down in the audio video room, you know, and they're crying. And she's like, I have to go. My shift's almost over, but I can get my manager over here to kind of grieve with you. Yeah. It's stuff that, like, I don't know, man. Like, I can totally see why you got your first impression on the show. I can totally see it. But, like, there's just so much little stuff. So he's dead, right? She's grieving. She's doing all these things. She's whatever. Anyways, she wants to go on a trip. Okay, so she gets a first class. She gets a job.
Oh, a job.
She gets a job where she can go to Hawaii. So she's taking a plane to Hawaii.
She doesn't take risks, by the way, because remember she interviews for the job?
Yeah.
And then she just leaves. She doesn't go to the interview. And then she's at home just pouting.
Okay.
She's grieving and all this stuff, and her friend is kind of saying, like, get over it, whatever. Mm-hmm. And there's just so much funny stuff during this episode. I'm skipping all over it. But she eats some macadamia nuts on the way to Hawaii, chokes on it, dies. Okay? Mm-hmm. So the rest of the series is them in this neighborhood.
As you were explaining it, that's what I was typing.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So...
Actually, interesting premise.
It's so weird, and it works so well. So she dies, and he is above her, right? She wakes up, and she's on this lawn and stuff, and he's like, I can't believe you're here. I've missed you so much. And she's at this point where she's kind of like doing new things. She's working out. She like almost gets to this point where she's about to move on, and she gets this job, and she's going to Hawaii, and then she dies, and she's back with him. So you kind of get this thing of like, I kind of feel bad for her because now she's with him again.
I was going to say, is that kind of the depressing stuff?
It's not depressing to me, though. It's just like feels. It's just like
the emotional stuff. It's like she was on the verge of finally coming to terms with her grief. Yeah. Finally able to move on with her life.
Herself, moving on, doing
learn
stuff.
New things. Yes. Try something new.
And they portray this all so well, where you just get pumped up for her, and you're like, oh, thank God. And then you're like, what? She fucking died. That's so weird. And then they're in this like purgatory suburban neighborhood, but they even have concepts for ghosts and stuff, right? So like they live in this abandoned community, but this security guard, this little Indian guy and his big black friend, like secure it for this company that's like, no one ever comes here, but I just have to, watch it, make sure people don't like smoke pot in it and smoke crack or whatever. But that's where they live, the ghosts, and they're like, yeah, they can't see us, but we live here. And then they meet this kid who like Fred Armisen thinks is his friend, but he's this little skater kid who died in the 70s. Yeah. So he's like 50 years old. And he has all these things where they need to do like haunting and stuff. And they're like, okay, I heard that like if you focus really hard, you can put all this energy into your finger and then you can flip the light switch. Yeah. You know, to scare these people. And so it's Fred Armisen at this light switch in the dark in this girl's bedroom, and they're just standing there, and he's like, I can't do it. I can't flip the light on, you know. And the kid's like, okay, let me do it. And he goes, he flips the light on. The girl doesn't wake up, and they're like, oh, damn it, this didn't work. And he's like, well, I can only do it once. It's super fucking hard to be a ghost and to flip lights on. She's like, let me try. Maya Rudolph. She's like, let me try. And she goes, yeah, and she can flip it up and down and flip it up and down. And then Fred Armisen is like trying to scare her or whatever. Like the dad comes in, he's like, don't worry, it's nothing. He's like, okay, we got to tip something over. And so there's like this little like toy pig, and he's like, I can't do it. He can't manipulate anything because he's just not mad at anything, right?
Okay.
And so she flips the light and knocks the thing over, and the kid is like, damn, what are you so angry about? Yeah. You know, and it's like, okay, I get. She's
Oh,
angry about
okay,
all this stuff.
okay.
And yeah, it's just it plays with all this stuff really. And there's a fountain in the town, and the further away they go from the fountain, the less strong they feel, and they could. So maybe it's like a purgatory kind of thing.
Okay.
But there's a fountain, so there's like these like mysterious concepts, and then there's a new person in town, and she's really rude, and they want to figure out what's wrong with her, and so Maya Rudolph breaks into her house, and they form this bond, and it's very good. I love it.
And
It's kind of shot like a Wes Anderson movie. It's kind of
Oh,
Wes
okay.
Anderson-y.
Okay.
And it's just yeah, totally up my alley. I love it.
And RoboCop's in it.
Yeah. I think it's great. And it's 25-minute episodes, 8 episodes. I'm gonna be watching this a lot. I might rewatch it right when I finish it. I fucking love this show.
I want when you watch episode 7, I want to get your thoughts on that.
I'm sure it'll be great.
It deviates from the path right now, so I want to see what you think about
They could
that.
go to space. They could set the show in space after being dead, and they would make it work.
Nice.
It's written and directed, I think, maybe not created, but it's written by a guy who worked with Frank on stuff before, or Fred, and he also worked on Parks and Rec,
Yang or
I
something is
think.
his name? Yang?
something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it has these comedy underbelly things, but it's also trying to deal with these issues. Like someone that I was reading talked about the show, and they said that they would recommend the show to anybody thinking about getting married. Like if you're thinking about starting a lifelong relationship with someone, watch the show. See what you think. Which I think you should watch now because you're engaged. Watch the show because it deals with a lot of this stuff of like,
Yeah.
that.
Sorry, you got me wondering who did it.
Yeah,
His name's
it's
Yang.
created by someone.
Alan Yang.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's credited as creator,
Co-creator.
co-creator.
It's
yeah.
With
Create-
William something?
Matt Hubbard.
Matt
Matt
Hubbard,
Hubbard.
that's
There
it.
you go. I believe Matt Hubbard came up with the concept, and then Yang came in to flesh it out with him.
He directed 2 episodes of Parks and Rec.
Yeah, which I believe he also came up with the treat. You guys don't watch Parks and Rec.
I do.
Yeah.
You do?
I've
Okay,
seen the whole
so
series.
Treat yourself.
Treat yourself.
He came up with that.
Well, the 2 episodes that he directed were New Beginnings in 2014 and Swing Vote in 2013.
Yeah. Well, I think he got a directing role, but I think he also was a writer
Oh,
on the
16
show.
episodes as a writer.
Yeah, he wrote, and then he apologized to Aziz Ansari for Treat Yourself.
He also served as executive producer of Master of None.
That's it. He works with Aziz Ansari, not with Fred
Yeah.
Armisen.
A consulting producer on South Park.
Yeah.
Associate producer on Last Call with Carson Daly.
He's got this thing, man. He knows who to work with, and they co-wrote all the episodes, and then someone else directs it each time. But fucking A, man, I love this show. I think it's great. It's so weird. I don't know. I have trouble describing it, really. I love it so much. There's so many funny things. I'm constantly laughing. It's so funny. So funny. This little kid on the ski slope, like Charles or something. He's a dickhead, but even the kid is funny. He's in it for like 2 seconds, and he made me laugh.
Yeah. You get back in there and sit on your old fat ass.
There's
You said you're like 100.
There's a timeout bear
Yeah.
on the ski lodge. It's so weird. Silly stuff.
All right.
The scene that I really liked when they got to the ski lodge and she gets out, she's like, holy fucking shit, it's cold.
Yeah,
And
it's
they're-
also like language.
Yeah.
They throw the F-bomb out a lot. But yeah, they get out on the top of the mountain because they usually go to a lake, and they live in upper middle class suburbia, and they go up to this mountain to go skiing for the first time. she opens the door to the car and she gets out and it's like, on a nice day. And she's like, motherfucking suck my face. Oh God. Then she gets back in the car and he's like, oh my God, is it really that bad? You're scaring me. And she's like, okay, we got to do this. And they do a countdown and they both get out and he's like, oh my face. It's good.
Let's just keep moving. We'll keep the blood flow.
Like I get how you got your first impression, but man, it just hit everything for me. Like everything was so funny and meaningful. It was great. I'm gonna get a forever tattoo.
You have forever tattoos, though.
Yeah, I know.
Thanks, Wes.
Let's talk about Sudden Impact. Or,
The asteroid movie?
No, Strike Distance.
Striking Distance.
Striking Distance.
So you watched it.
Oh, yes,
I
I did.
watched it.
I
You
watched
didn't
it
watch
at
it.
work.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Nice.
Yeah.
Yep. So what did you think?
That's a late 80s, early 90s action film if I've ever seen one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't necessarily do anything wrong.
Yeah.
It's like cheesy, but not in like super entertaining ways.
Those are in the Die Hard years, so Bruce Willis is popular now.
Yeah, he's popular. They're putting him
It's
in
a good
anything.
cast.
Yeah.
Like the cheesiest part for me, just right out of the gate, was during the car chase at the beginning.
Oh, yeah?
One car slides into a truck, and they just go click.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why did you explode?
Do you
When the
remember-
cop screams, ah!
Yep.
Do you remember when they're driving to their first little thing when they're like, we're chasing a serial killer or something,
Yeah.
and they're like, copy that, and they're like having this conversation, and Bruce Willis is like speeding through traffic and like, and they're like, so how's Marsha?
Yep.
How's the kids? And then it cuts to this action driving
Yep.
scene, and I was like, this is so weird.
Oh, God.
It's but it doesn't do anything super entertaining. It's
The minute the dude fell into when he tried to kill himself and jumped into the river, I was like, that's the killer.
was he retarded?
No.
Was he stupid?
No.
He wasn't, right?
No.
Because when they come up to him on the bridge and he's standing there and he goes, ha 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 ha. Yeah. He does this like Tommy Wiseau laugh, and I was like, and then the way he was talking, I'm like, are you doing an accent or are you playing someone?
I mean, could have been a Pittsburgh, Philadelphia accent.
It was really bad.
But
Yeah.
and then
was
he
it?
jumps off.
Yeah. See, honestly,
And then Bruce Willis comes up to the bridge and with his one leg, he's like, Sam, or like Jerry or whatever his name was.
Patello.
It was
Jerry.
so weird.
Jerry.
Yeah.
I mean, they framed the film to make you think it was Tom Sizemore's character.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the classic bait and switch. The old Usual Suspects.
Yeah.
And then the very end with the taser in the mouth.
Yeah.
Dude, I was like, okay, he's dead.
In the water.
And then he's like, I'm back. Ah, and then they jump off the bridge, they fall, and he's like, I fucking drowned him. He's like, oh, he's dead. And then taser comes out of the water. And it's the villain, the action movie villain that never dies.
Yep.
Hey, The Sudden Betrayal by Sarah Jessica Parker.
Yeah, that was gnarly. Horse face. I expected it.
Donnie actually said, because she watched part of it, was like, did she get plastic surgery to look worse nowadays?
Yeah, she looked fine back then.
Yeah. Was it Family Guy said she was 80s hot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was 80s. I wouldn't say she was 80s hot.
It wasn't a bad film.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot to work with on it.
Again, way better than Pink Cadillac.
Yeah.
Again, Boat,
Yeah.
River Cops.
Oh,
Yeah.
my God.
It's very weird.
But how do you like the cop Eddie that always fucks with him? Is like that 90s, that
Yeah.
decade henchman guy.
Yep.
He either plays a dirty cop or a henchman
Yep.
in like all these 90s
well, to be
movies.
fair, this one, he was just a douchebag cop.
Yeah. So funny.
The only real, I guess, twist I didn't see coming was the Jerry? His partner?
Jerry's the killer, yeah.
Yeah, Jerry's dad was the one who killed Bruce Willis's dad.
Yeah.
That's the only twist I didn't see coming.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that would be one, like, if I wanted something on in the background, wouldn't be one I would be like, oh, that's...
I'm never going to even think about this movie again.
You're not going to think about Bruce Willis's weird hair in it?
No. I love when like, before the taser scene, he comes up in slow motion, he's like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, God, Bruce Willis with hair, I forgot.
The scene where the guy killed himself, I thought it was funny because Bruce Willis drives up in the car and he gets out and he one hops on the crutch all the way up to the scene, and then after he jumps off, he gets up off the floor and just runs normal to the edge of the fucking thing.
Yep.
And I was like, all right.
Even when we switch days, Derek still texts me during recording.
Oh my god.
He knows.
That's so
It's-
funny.
Yeah, it's still better than Pink Cadillac. It's a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a movie.
It's like the straight to DVD.
It's a 90s action movie.
Yeah, it would be like straight to DVD action films now.
Yeah.
It's not great, but it's not scum.
I see what you did there.
Speaking of, I didn't see it.
I did.
I did.
I couldn't find it.
Found it on YouTube.
Yep. It's a hard movie to watch.
Be nice if someone told me it was on YouTube.
He did.
You can watch the video last week, and I said,
Dude, what do you mean?
I
last
said
week,
Because
on-
I looked it up and it did not say YouTube at all. It didn't say anything. It said on
no, but
Amazon disc.
He found it while we were filming last week, and he
Oh.
was like, "Oh, this one's on YouTube."
It's movie set in a British boys juvie slash.
Like a detention center
Yeah,
kind of thing. A reform school.
that's
what it
yeah.
is.
But they beat the shit out of these kids.
It's just like a Bronx Tale.
You haven't seen it.
Well, that's the same premise.
There's one really really hard scene to watch in the movie. Actually, like the last 20 minutes are pretty hard. But
Really?
yeah. Are you gonna watch it or
No, this
No.
is these are not spoiler free.
All right, fair
reviews.
enough. So, the main character is, what was his name? Carl.
I thought it was
Carl.
No, yeah, it's Carlisle.
Carlisle,
I think.
something like that.
Yeah.
it's like Carl but more fancy.
Yeah, Carlton.
Yeah, no T. But
Carlisle. Yeah, it's Carlisle.
he gets transferred in with two other kids. He apparently was a really badass at his last one. So when he comes here, everyone tells him, "Look, you're not going to do that same shit there that you did here."
Mm-hmm.
And like immediately gets punched in the gut a couple times by one of the guards, teachers. Just because, like
Yeah.
they treat these boys like shit,
Mm-hmm.
Like scum.
like scum. And he's like not trying to be the badass. He's just trying to do his time and get out.
Mm-hmm.
But then the head boy there makes his life miserable and beats the shit out of him. So, like 30 minutes into the film, puts two pool balls into a sock and just slaps it upside his head.
Ooh, Jesus.
Yeah, it's like Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah,
Yep.
with the bars of soap. Fuck.
And then he becomes the head dude in that school thing.
Mm-hmm.
But then one of the kids he comes with is this littler kid who gets his own cell because he's younger. Towards the end of the film, he's in a greenhouse and gets raped by 3 other boys.
What?
And minus actually seeing penis, you see the whole thing.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Nope.
Wow. That's why BBC banned it for like 14 years, it said.
And then he commits suicide the next like 2 scenes later after asking for help. So when they're locked in the rooms, they have a little button they hit to get one of the guys to come and talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, he's something like, "I can't sleep. Every time I close my eyes, I have nightmares." And the dude tells him, "Go fucking lie down and go to sleep. I don't care."
Mm-hmm.
So he takes razor blade, slits his wrists,
Mm-hmm.
and then as he's bleeding, he decides to get up and hit the button to try and get someone to help him. Dude just sits there reading his paper.
Wow.
So they come in the next day. He's dead.
Holy shit.
It's not bad.
It's not a bad film. It's just not one you want to just put on, "Hey, let's watch a film."
Yeah, it's gnarly.
My favorite character is Archer.
Yes.
So it's this kid who's been in there for a while, and he's doing everything he can to basically peaceful protests to make life just difficult for all the guys there. Like, he's a vegetarian, he claims. So they have to make him a special meal, and he won't wear the shoes because they're leather. So they provide him with plastic shoes. He gets put into solitary confinement, and then when they open the door and say, "Do you have anything to complain about?" "Yeah, I didn't get exercise today." And they're like, "Well, the rule said we don't have to give you exercise if like weather is bad," and weather looked like rain, but it didn't. And then that's his whole character through the movie. He's never doing anything outwardly bad. He's just fucking with these guys.
It's kind of, I mean, it's close to like a Lars von Trier film where it's just innately uncomfortable the whole time.
Yeah, and like there's no overarching story. There's no real. Like,
I mean, it's just about them.
it's just about them, but we don't see what happens to them besides them at the end getting the shit beat out of them and locked in solitary.
That's it.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is just it's like purposefully hard to watch for no reason.
Before,
Like it's not trying to teach a lesson.
no, this is just a movie to be
It's-
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Probably for me the most uncomfortable scene before the rape scene was one kid goes back to there's one woman there who's like they call her matron. Mm-hmm. She's supposed to be like the psychiatrist, and you say any problems you're having with her, but she doesn't do anything. Mm-hmm. One kid gives her this letter. Hey, you read my letter? Yes, I did, and that's why I gave it to you because they screen all the mail. Read it again. She reads it again. Something about Candy died. We buried her, but she reads it so fast and nonchalant. It's like, oh, so what was Candy? Your pet? Dog or something? Dude sits there like this for a second. Candy's the nickname I gave my wife. She's my wife. Mm-hmm. And the matron woman just looks like pretty much just doesn't care. Mm-hmm. There's one kid who's obsessed that his parents are getting rid of 3 puppies, so his dog had puppies. Mm-hmm. And that's all he cares about. He's like failing school because of this. He's a little slow in the classroom, but he's only caring about these puppies. And you think like I thought that plot thread was going to go somewhere, and it didn't. Like you get little plot threads throughout this whole film, and then they just abruptly end.
Yeah.
Like the little kid who ended up getting raped. Like I knew nothing about him in that movie besides he was just the littlest and youngest kid.
Yeah.
I think Archer has the most development.
Sure.
Yeah, would be the word I'm looking for.
I don't know that he has an arc or anything. I think we just learn more about him.
Yeah, sorry, that's what I was going for.
Development. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you said the right word. Yeah.
But yeah, like none of the, even when all the bad shit goes down, none of the guys there, none of the guards or whatever care. Mm-hmm. Like they have a governor there, and they will, and no one will snitch on anyone. So like the dude gets hit with the pool balls in the head, and the other guy gets his face smashed into the sink, on the ground bleeding, picks him up and says, "Oh, I fell." Like that's just it. No one snitches on anyone there.
Wow.
Even the except and then in the rape scene, one of the guys is actually looking through the window, watching this kid get raped, and as it gets done, the 3 guys walk out. He walks in saying, "Hey, get back to work," and then looks at the guy who fell on the ground. It's like, "What's happened? Why are you down there?" Kid just said, "I fell."
Wow.
Like it's just bred in to not say anything because it's going to just get you more beaten.
Wow.
And then they revolt at the end.
Yeah.
After that, because after he kills himself and they don't do anything, they're told to all eat. They all have plates of food in front of them. They all just sit there, not doing anything. Main dude stands up, grabs his plate like this, really fast, like almost like a robot stand up, throws it against the wall, and they just start breaking everything.
I guess that's the point of it. Is like,
There's a breaking point.
yeah.
Like you can do horrible things as a kid, but at some point they're just going to snap. Yeah, I can see that.
Interesting.
I mean, it's free on YouTube.
Yeah.
Apparently.
It was all right. Well, if you paid attention.
Can you grab the helmet behind you? Wes, 1993 is killing it again this time.
When you say stuff like that out loud, you know I don't pick anything from there.
Yeah, you're gonna pick this fucking 1979 bullshit movie.
Like I did with Scum.
Yeah.
I actually can't say Scum was bad. It's a good film.
Yeah, it's fine.
It came out, and when it came out, it was originally rated X.
Oh yeah.
So, and I see why.
All right, next week's. You ready?
I'm ready.
From 1979. This movie is just called 10.
By Pearl Jam.
Also from 1979, Nosferatu.
I'm assuming they remade
The
it or
remake?
something.
Yeah.
It's like 20, 30 years later,
40.
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah,
Nosferatu is like 32
yeah.
when it came out.
Good film, but doesn't age well.
Yeah.
It depends. If you like those movies, then
Yeah.
they're great.
1987 has Baby Boom.
Maybe it's another driving movie. Maybe it's like Baby Driver, but it's like the demolition guy.
Nice.
Also from 87, 3 O'Clock High. which is nice. I've seen that before. It's pretty good.
Never heard of it.
Nope.
1989's An Innocent Man.
Never heard of it.
Nope.
Also from 89, Drugstore Cowboy.
Oh, that's actually a good movie.
Haven't seen it, but I've heard of it.
Yeah.
And all the killers from 93, we got Cool Runnings. Cool Runnings Man. Demolition Man.
Nice.
Malice. And Gettysburg, which I actually own. All right. You ready?
Ready as I'll never be.
Make sure to pick Drugstore Cowboy.
Malice.
Ooh, interesting. Cool.
Synopsis coming up.
Malice. I didn't look at any of these movies. All I did was check to make sure they were real movies.
Let's see. We have Nicole Kidman, Alec Baldwin, Bill Pullman, Gwyneth Paltrow. We have. It's a neo-noir film directed by Harold Becker, written by Aaron Sorkin and Scott Frank, starring Alec Baldwin. Blah, 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 adapted from a story, of course, because Aaron Sorkin always adapts. The plot follows Andy and Tracy, a newlywed couple whose lives are upturned after they rent part of their Victorian home to Jed, a Cavalier surgeon.
Ooh.
Weird.
Wow. I'm into it. I like the cast. Nice.
Malice.
George C. Scott.
Things are further complicated when he removes Tracy's ovaries during an emergency surgery to save her life.
What?
Yeah.
One quick review of it. It is reviewed on October 11th of 1999. Malice is one of those movies that you simply must see more than once to believe. The first time through, Malice is a great thriller with twists and turns along the way. The second time through, you will appreciate the wonderful acting throughout this film. Provides a look at all the things you might have missed the first time and a chance to savor an outstanding performance from perhaps the most underrated actor in Hollywood, Alec Baldwin.
Yeah.
Not so much
It's a
underrated
whole
anymore.
nother world.
Cool. All right, so we got Malice in the books. Anything else, folks?
No, ma'am.
Ma'am. Folks doesn't require a ma'am rebuttal.
It does for you.
All right, guys. Thanks again for watching this episode of Bloodshots. If you like what you see, go to all the social medias except for Facebook and like, favorite, and subscribe. And help support the show on patreon.com/derailed. What do they got to do for comments?
Leave a comment below and we'll read it on the show.
Also, leave your comments about what you thought of Striking Distance if you watched it, Scum if you watched it, and then your homework is going to be Malice. And then we'll talk about that next week. Thanks for joining us.